I said, I'm Hallie Shafer. I got my degree in ceramics from Clemson University in 2015. And since then, I've been doing a lot of teaching of ceramics. I've done a pretty good job of keeping up my own studio practice since then. I had a studio in Athens, Georgia for a year after graduating, cheap rent, cheap, living, and that worked out really well. I paid $550 total for my studio rent and my house rent.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
And then you moved to
And then I moved to Austin. Yeah. And then when I moved to Austin, I worked at the DAC for a while, and I taught elementary art for 5 years. So while doing that, I worked at a couple different studios, originally with at a place called Moon Collective with Settle Ceramics, I don't know if you're familiar, and Eliana Bernard. And not long after that, Sam and Eliana, whose studio it was, they decided to get a bigger space. And so I formed Broad Studios with 5 other artists at the time. And we all kind of came together in an effort to, I guess, subsidize the rent of having a studio in Austin. And we knew we wanted a big commercial space. So with that comes, like almost $4,000 in rent. So through the years, we've had that for about 4 years now, and it's down to 3 ceramic artists. And we just acquired another broad, and she does these really cool 3-dimensional canvases. So she's not a ceramic artist, but she works with plaster and stuff. So yeah, personal work has developed quite a bit. I've always been really interested in surface design and decoration. Ever since, always while making functional work, I think I saw the actual creation of the form as more of a creation of the canvas as opposed to just being okay with just letting the form be as it was and then covering it with glaze. I always wanted to do something more to it. So I've done a lot of work with Sgraffito and Mishima, and then I'm gonna do some of that today. And then I recently started doing mono prints on my work, which is what I prepped this little guy for. And yeah, I'm just kind of constantly exploring how to make different color forms, and a lot of my stuff is inspired by abstract landscapes, significant personal moments, and it's very meditative as far as it's meditative, and also it's a form of escapism, I think, just like getting back to a place that I really am fond of, or a memory that I'm really fond of. So yeah, I can look at each of these pots and be like, oh yeah, that's when I was that's when I was thinking of my time in Italy, or that's when I was thinking of my time in Mexico, or yeah.
So do you do any 2D work as well, or was it just ceramics?
I do some 2-dimensional work. I'm really interested in, and we talked about this a little bit at dinner, but I'm interested in the price difference between, the sticker you can put on a 2D work of art versus what you can put on a functional 3-dimensional work of art. And so I've been wanting to do a series of diptychs where I do the exact same drawing, but first on paper and then on a mug, and then vice versa, do a drawing on a mug and then translate it to paper and then sell them together. So that's been living in my brain for a while, but for some reason, working in the round makes so much more sense to me. And I'm still trying to figure out why that is. But yeah, I'll be showing y'all a lot of surface decoration.
Do you want me to go to more slides, or
It's got all my stuff. I prepped 4 bags for you guys today.
do you want to show these or later, or?
Oh, no, I can talk about that now. So this is what I was mentioning, Broad Studios. These are the original Broads. So we had a silk artist, a muralist, 3 ceramic artists, and a fiber artist to start. And then COVID changed everything. So a lot of them started working out of their own homes because they were able to do that. You can't do that as easily with ceramics. You have all your kilns and your ventilation and everything already established. So yeah, it mostly just became a ceramic studio in the past couple of years. But we do host markets quarterly. We usually do a big blowout for East and then a summer market, and usually a spring one too. We do a South by event, and we bring in local makers that we feel like are, you know, conducive to our our vibe, for lack of a better, you know, our aesthetic. And it's been a really great way to build community of makers. And we're opening, this is just showing some of our events, but we're opening we opened a educational space last year. It's almost a year old. It'll be a year old in June. And this was, I opened this with my business partner, Jenna, who you can see in the top picture there in the background. And like I mentioned, I was an elementary art teacher for 5 years. So education has always been a big passion of mine. And I definitely saw an area in the market for for throwing classes because they were just selling out constantly. And I taught at the Doherty adult classes for a while. And there was a lot of interest, and I really enjoyed working with adults. And yeah, so we did a Kickstarter for this, which was I swear I got my first gray hairs doing that because it was extremely stressful. Have any of y'all ever done a Kickstarter? So the deal is you don't get your money unless you meet your goal. And a friend of ours had set like a Kickstarter goal of $15,000, and she met it instantly. It was like immediately she had $15,000 in her pocket. So we were like, oh my gosh, people really want to support. This is gonna be so simple and straightforward. And so we came up with this whole Kickstarter campaign, and it was not so simple for us. It was down to the last like hours.
Was it with these piece of clay?
No, this is Broad Studios.
No, but the one that got the money right away.
Oh no, I didn't know who did Kickstarter.
Yeah, she did.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it was the same. It was the same thing, but she was like making like quick shot sales and the stuff like to bring awareness about it. And it was, I could see it was a lot of work. And she got it right like a week before COVID started.
Yeah, that's what we did too. We did a lot of I think they weren't really legal giveaways, but it was like, buy a raffle ticket. You can't do that in Texas apparently, but yeah, don't tell anyone. We did make our goal, which was $25,000, very, very ambitious, but that covered our kiln and our wheels and got us like some, you know, really good grounding to get started. So yeah,
So you have space with other studios, or?
This is 2 doors down from Broad Studios, from our original space.
All right.
So that's part of the reason. When I decided to quit teaching in the public school system, I knew I had to subsidize my income somehow in a more stable way than just selling my own stuff, because I just wasn't there yet. I'm still not there yet. And I was gonna have like 4 wheels in my personal studio and just do kind of like small private lessons. And then our friend who had the very successful Kickstarter, she was in this space before and she actually expanded into a different space. So we had the opportunity to take on a new lease in our same building, which was an incredible opportunity. And thank God, because I would not have wanted to have classes in our personal studio space. But yeah, it's grown and expanded to be more of a, like, we have our regular classes. We also do private events. We started doing bachelorette parties. We've sold out for sure. We're doing some paint your own pottery stuff. So I'm sorry. But it's a lot of fun. It's like, you know, the turnaround for those is so much faster than coming and making a pinch pot and letting dry and all that.
It's a nice intro.
Yeah, that's a good intro. Thanks. Yeah. But yeah, and it's just been incredible to build community. We do a student showcase at the end of every class. So these shelves in the background that you see, we put backing on them. So we flip those shelves around and that turns into kind of like a gallery wall. And then we have these really nice tables set up in between the wheels. They weren't built yet at the time this photo was taken. But those kind of become pedestals, and then we have our own pedestals that we bring in. And so it just completely transforms into a gallery space. And we host it on a Friday night. We have drinks and make it feel really elevated. And people come and bring their community, and it's just a really lovely gathering place. And we have a lot of repeat customers, and yeah, been a lot of friends made. And this is our latest project. We just won't stop, apparently. The broad shop is going to be kind of like a natural extension of our makers markets. So we were motivated to create it by there's kind of like I don't know how y'all feel about wholesale and consignment, but I'm never motivated to do wholesale and consignment because losing that amount of my retail price is really heartbreaking.
30%, 40%.
Yeah, at
50.
least 30%. Yeah, and 50 for wholesale. It's significant. And I'm not a production potter. I don't know if it changes when you're a production potter and you're just not gonna
It
know,
depends
but
on the venue.
yeah.
I'm very, very busy, the wholesale. But it is just like a mountain of stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I just wasn't, I mean, I do so much, we all do so much detail work, but it just wasn't making sense to sell work at half price, and even if it was a good amount of it. So we kind of re-envisioned a model for a retail space that would hopefully benefit the artists, just like purely benefit the artists. So we're charging, instead of a wholesale cost or a consignment, we're charging per shelf. So for $195 a month, you get access to a shelf, which is very flexible, but it's a fixed price that artists can rely on every month. And then no matter how much you sell, you keep all of it. So, and you can come and restock as often as you like. We are in the process of building this out right now. So I don't know how this is going to go, and it's kind of being really transparent. Like, hey, this is something new that we're trying, and it's in Springdale General.
Oh.
Yeah, so corner of Airport in Springdale, and yeah, it's got a good amount of foot traffic. Lots of people.
And they're building that huge building that I think it's Tesla.
It's called Springdale Green. I have heard rumors of Tesla being an office there. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, so it's massive. It's gonna block our entire Sunset View, which is really sad, but it's okay. And maybe hike your taxes quite a bit. But yeah, so it's all exclusively handmade goods within a 100-mile radius of Austin. So the idea is that we can be kind of a one-stop shop for like high-end home goods. And our grand opening, which is supposed to be at the end of May, which will be at the end of May. It is happening. We're sending out invitations, but we're inviting like big interior designers around town to come in so that those connections can be formed between artists and designers. So we want to be like a catalyst kind of for those connections. So yeah, I am the majority of my work right now has been collaborative, which is why I had 3 slides of collaborative work and 1 slide of my own personal work. Yeah, it's been a lot. Turns out it's a lot to open up 3 businesses. It's no joke. Do you have any questions about those things?
No, it sounds really exciting.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Ambitious.
Yeah. Yeah, we're getting in there.
You're right on my definition of success. I've always said that success is not how far you get, is how many people you bring with you and how many people you spring forward.
Thank you so much for saying that. I hope that's gonna be what we. There's a little illustration on the screen there that I didn't. Sorry.
This is not totally inappropriate, is it?
There is one but yeah. Anyway, thank you very much. Yeah. So yeah, I guess I'll do my demo. The one I'll do first is going to be my monoprint. And I started doing these because I was teaching my elementary students glazing, and we were doing like stroke and coat, like again, kind of they make their own pieces, but then it's the painter and powder and stuff. And I would lay down butcher paper and then they would get all these different splashes all over everything because they're kids. And I found myself really attracted to the huge mess that was left on the paper. So I just started basically making my own mess on paper and then transferring it onto pots. And I just recently started adding a more graphic element. My very, very, very original background for visual art is in graphic design, so I'm always attracted to a more graphic element. But adding kind of like a grid, because it's so hot right now, people love the grid. So yeah, I just found that it's really playful and therapeutic. And
So the purple on there, is that a resist or is that, what is that?
yeah, that's just tape.
Oh,
It's
I
a
see the
pink.
blue is tape, but the purple is also tape.
Yeah, I just covered this area with the big tape because I wanted to cover a larger area, but this is just little
Is
like
the
painter's tape.
pin striping, I think they call it, for the people that do detail
Oh,
work.
The
on details.
auto detailing tape.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
I've got mine, yeah, I got mine
mine
at like O'Reilly's or whatever.
It's more expensive if you call it auto retailing.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it's easier to find a lot of suppliers if you do that, than if you're trying to look for thin tape.
Right.
It's
It's really
yeah,
thin.
I got one on Amazon, but don't tell.
And is your font this, or is it greenware?
This one is this, but I have greenware ones in there that I'm gonna work on. I use the bleach in this one, it smells so foul.
Mhm.
Oh my God, so bad.
and this is all cone six, or is it low?
This is
fire?
low fire, yeah, I
It's
do
low fire.
room fire for the most part. I mean, obviously I did the whole like transition from college to doing cone 10 reduction, firings and gas kilns and beautiful, variations and blazes and all that. And then I had to come to a compromise very quickly after I didn't have access to those kinds of kilns. And that was a whole journey, but I went basically from cone 10 reduction to cone 6 oxidation to just straight up ribbon wire. And
Well, you have the whole range of colors anyway.
yeah, I do really love having like the vibrant colors. They're really incredible.
And you're just blobbing things down now the way you want to.
I
is that it?
am, yeah, I kind of, there are certain colors that mix a lot nicer than others. The pink mixes very nicely with all of them. So I tend to do a lot of pink. The orange does not mix well with any of them, except, I mean, the pink is fine, but the orange with the green and the orange with the blue, it just gets really muddy and not very pretty. So I always try to border the orange.
So are you overlapping or just putting side by side or what?
Right now I'm putting side by side, and I wish that y'all could see. Feel free to come up too if you'd like to.
Well,
We want to sit on the benches and so you look down.
You get on the
Yeah.
other side, too,
Yeah.
on the other side of the table.
Come around.
That way everybody can see what you're doing.
Yeah, I can do it.
You want to-
So yeah, I just kind of laid them out originally. Can you see?
And it's more on the blobby.
So blobby. So blobby.
Oh, I see.
And then once I get all the color kind of laid out how I want it. Oh, sorry if y'all can smell this orange. It truly is just putrid.
We know about that.
Pretty
I know,
color.
right?
We all know that orange and red don't smell good. At least we haven't called the fire department. That happened at the deck.
What?
Well, somebody
What?
called because of the smell.
They thought it was gas.
Oh my
Oh.
gosh.
And
what
that's
was
really
the-
funny.
What was the smell? Red underlays.
Putrid.
Oh.
That's very funny.
Kind of sulfur smell or something.
You know, although it's better to be safe than sorry.
I know. Oh, yeah. for
Yeah.
sure.
I almost died, I guess. My husband was out for a week and I was with myself and I didn't never left the house. And my friend came over and she smelled that it smelled bad and she said anything because she thought it was the cat. And it turned out they had a gas leak. So it was
Oh,
during the week.
yikes.
I was living with a gas leak and cooking on the stove and everything.
Oh, no.
I'm lucky to be here.
So are you I noticed that here it's kind of doing that
Mhm.
paisley thing or
Kind of like
whatever.
marbling, yeah.
Like the mocha diffusion.
Are you looking for that? or
Yeah.
You are.
I am, and it is tricky with these larger ones to get that, but I'm gonna do a smaller one on one of my mugs, and it is a lot easier to get that. And so I used to try to put as little pressure as possible on the actual transfer to get that really nice marbling effect. And I guess I could try this on shaving cream too, but I don't want it to look super marbly. I'm not like, that's not exactly what
You
I'm
want a
looking for.
hint of it. no?
Yeah, just a tiny bit. And so I've stuck with the transfer. But yeah, so now what I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna roll this.
Is that, I'm sorry, did I miss? Is it parchment paper or just craft paper?
This is just craft paper, but you can I've used receipts. I've
Oh.
used whatever I have on me.
Fair enough.
And it'll work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a picky process. And then I usually wrap it. Let's see how this one turns out. You never really know,
That's
Yep,
Yeah,
that's
it's
the
just
same.
part.
Did you make it?
I missed some, but that's okay. Ooh. So I missed these parts here. Whoa, that's wild.
Oops.
So should we put
And
the
then-
break
Yeah,
on?
lock that one. I locked this one.
Thanks. So if I miss that part, I'll usually just try to like do a little
Oh, yeah.
roll. And I missed that one too. And then I do like to kind of, on these bigger ones, I'll like pick and choose my favorite little areas. Roll those.
Do you mind if I take a picture?
Oh, please. So we'll let that dry and then we'll peel the tape off. And I don't mind when they get so messy on the ones where I'm doing the grid, because the grid kind of like
Cleans
reinstates
it
that
up.
order.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
But on the ones where I do a free form,
Just fill pieces.
I'm a lot more picky about how those go.
That's such a cool technique.
Thank
I've
you.
Never thought of doing it that way. I mean, I've done the like marbling with the shaving cream and
Yeah.
it's just so much shaving cream. And then it just
Shaving
gets
cream.
really messy and then it gets
Yeah.
really muddy and I couldn't figure out how to make it.
It's
You
like in
know.
between the shaving cream and the actual mono printing of doing an actual design.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was telling someone the other day, it's a lot. I mean, again, I was inspired by my students who they were doing this unintentionally. But it reminds me a lot of what I used to do as a kid, which was wad up paper towels and dunk them in water and then twist them in watercolors on all the different edges and then unravel the paper towel and it was like all these.
Yes, it was like a tie dye.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what this reminds me of.
Mhm.
And it's been a really fun, relaxing thing to do. It's a release of control, definitely. So this is going to be directly on the greenware. And again, this is where I do get more picky. And the first ones that I did are my favorite ones. And they were like just the experiments, And I've been chasing that exact.
I've had that
Like, I'm like,
experience.
how did I
We're
do
always like,
that?
it's always the first
Ah,
time.
no,
Stop trying.
apparently.
Taste that dragon.
Now that that you show that, I'm wondering if we could do the mocha diffusion transferring,
Mm,
because that would give you the little hint of the marbling,
mhm.
but I don't know how well it would transfer.
Because the mocha diffusion needs to be quite wet, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what this would give you, right?
The
Because,
orange is
yeah,
so
this is already
fun.
very
I
good.
really like that.
I love that. These are I do a lot of different surface techniques, but these are my colors. I will dye by these colors.
They work really well together.
Thank you.
That's a nice palette.
Usually my green's a little bit thick right now. I usually like it to be a little bit more liquid so that I can do the movement. Okay. And then one thing when I roll it on the transfer, I do like to like think about which way I'm going, right? So I know that the warms will blend into the cools a lot better than the cools will blend into the warms. So I always roll it from that way.
There's a method to her madness.
There is.
And where you choose to set it is purposeful, so why did you start new? Is it just to get one side and then the other?
Yes, that's exactly it.
Oh, nice.
So that little drip right there is what I'm chasing almost every time.
Set it down.
Yeah, I know. I do have to like let it dry, let it sit.
Get out the heat gun.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have any issues if you let it be a drip like that, like cracking off or one way?
I have not had it crack off. Sometimes if it's really thick, and I fire it, it'll like, there'll just be like a little steam, but when I put the glaze over it, it kind of
heals
takes care
over.
of it. Yeah.
Okay.
So have you tried the same thing with sleep?
I have not.
Because I
I'm
think
like,
with the sleep. you
yeah,
would be able
why?
to make a thick, no, but just because of the thickness.
yeah. I think it's, I mean, this is so I can control the thickness of this to the point where I feel like it's, and I've got my colors so established with this. I'm like, I don't really, I have worked with colored clay, and I do love making colored clay, but
It's kind of a pain.
yeah, it is kind of a pain. And I'm like, it's
I
my
do
day.
something now in colored clay and it's like so much.
It's
of the-
wonderful.
That's what I'm going home tonight and doing.
Yeah. And so eventually I'm gonna let that dry, but eventually I'll do the other side so that basically you can have a nice thing to look at when you're drinking from either side.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
As
thank
a
you.
left-hander, I appreciate that.
Yes. A story I always tell my students when I'm pulling handles, I say you have to rotate it all the way around because you'll have a person that you're seeing at the time pick one of your mugs and he'll say, oh, a right-handed person made this. And I'd say, how can you tell? He said, well, you pulled the handle wrong.
Oh,
okay.
You gotta flip it back and forth.
Yeah, back and forth. So, I mean, he was being nice about it, but it was, I'll never forget it. So
So do you ever reuse those?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
I usually do like one print, the wet print, the sloppy print on one side and then the drier print on the other side. Yeah, I made, have y'all ever been to Birdie's? It's a restaurant in East Austin. It's, I made their mugs. I made a set of 40 for them, which is like the biggest commission I'll ever do. I do not like making multiples. But I did sets with my mono prints and I did all of those are a wet print and then a dry print on either side.
So now we're all going to wear this.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you say a dry print, is it just right now as in
Yeah.
not floppy? Okay, I didn't know if you let it dry and then
Yeah.
like sprayed it back down or
So I'll
something.
do this. And I usually try to like rotate it so it's not exactly the same.
I've seen Birdie's Barber Shop.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So it's like a whole different, I mean, to me, it's like a whole different experience.
Yeah, yeah, the other one looks more like somebody poured the paint,
Mhm.
where the other one is more somebody trying to clean it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's these are my first mugs with the new Longhorn white. So I'm excited. I don't think it should be that different, but I'm excited to see what that looks like.
Well, one of the things that when I was working in low fire that I found problematic for functional wear was getting it where it didn't sweat, you know, because it's a porous clay.
Yeah.
Even though you've glazed it,
Mhm.
it doesn't really hold up as well as, at least that was my experience, as Cone 6 did. So how do you deal with that? Or do you have a problem with that?
I have had a problem with that. Yeah. And we were just talking about this, like there's a lot of issues with clear on earthenware and honestly in Cone 6 for me too.
Yeah,
But yeah, I've found that the I think it's, did I say Amico Brilliance? Yeah, the Amico Brilliance watered down like pretty significantly from what they give you, because it's very thick when they give it to you, very heavy. And then Bisque Fire to Cone 04 and then Glaze Fire to 06. And that has been working wonders for me. So
you get a good visual product, but it's also durable.
yes, yeah. And
It's the durability that was always the
I
problem.
know. I had that too. And it seemed inconsistent to me for a while, but I've been using that for about 2 years now. And I've been using them and I send them home with my parents and they put them through the dishwasher and everything. And they seem to be holding up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Not crazing or doing anything funky. But I do notice that if I make a vase and I have water sitting in it for a really long time, then there is a little line. Yeah. So haven't
Okay.
figured that one out.
Yeah, I never figured it out either.
I know. I usually just tell people when
Just
they buy. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I'm like, just so you know, this can happen. Drink your tea fast. Oh man. Yeah.
There was a woman that was in Ceramic Congress a couple of years ago, and she did something kind of similar, but I know Speedball and somebody else makes those gelatin printing pads.
Yeah.
And she would put underglaze on that and then put it
Oh,
on.
that's cool. Yeah.
That would be more sustainable.
And then you just clean it off and use it again.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into that.
That's a good idea. Yeah, they are cool.
Gelatin. Ooh, see, like this. I'm so into that. I'm like, ooh, like, use it.
I like it.
Get your paper, just like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I
Just
know.
roll it on there,
I mean, I really might. I
just to see what happens.
have an extra one.
To do.
This is what I'm like in my studio. I'm just like, ooh, let's try this. Roll it around.
Yeah, it's even got this little one. It's not bad.
Okay.
The GACA cup.
See what you get.
Ooh.
There you go.
That's
Oh, you
good.
want it.
Yeah.
Who needs paper?
Who needs it? Who's not want that? Right?
That didn't work. It's too small.
This is.
Fake it.
I'll get it.
No, it's screen printing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's on the jelly,
Oh,
This
okay,
one
this
had-
person
this
wants
is
to-
kind of plain, but it's just kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like. yeah,
Is this
it's-
Indiana?
No, it
Okay,
was,
can we
she
get it
was a kind of Slavic name. and I think she was in Los Angeles. No, it wasn't Pink Kiss.
Shona Pinkus?
No, no.
No. Yeah, it's interesting that the
Something
table.
Would be along
Was it-
lots of times.
Liliana.
Hmm.
Liliana.
Yeah,
It's giving a
yeah.
different
Oh,
effect.
it is giving a little bit of different effect. Like the veins in it. Feels like
It's
really
kind of
tiny
putting
veins.
away.
Yeah,
Liliana.
much more veiny.
Jankulova.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
it.
So it's really cool though. Yeah, you can see.
The veins, I was trying to see the veins.
They're really small, but they're
Yeah, I don't have my glasses on, so.
neat.
Here you go.
I'll live with it.
Okay.
So then my other ones, I'm gonna show you all my not so exciting techniques, but just creating kind of, again, those abstract landscapes that I draw inspiration from. I actually end up watching Call Me by Your Name. I don't know if y'all have seen that movie, but that's got gorgeous Italian landscapes in it. And I studied abroad in Italy. It's where I first learned how to throw. And so I covet the Italian landscape, and I think about it all the time. So sometimes when I'm not feeling inspired, I'll watch that movie and paint to it.
So that is a very large
And I
brush.
love my big brush.
Your colour palette, did you know specifically the shades of green and blue that you wanted?
Did I what?
The
Did I know them?
shades, the Olympics.
I did when I saw them.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'll know it when I see it.
Yeah. And they all pretty true after firing. They stay pretty darn true. They're a little bit more vibrant. Yeah. Yeah, it's
Some of the
amazing.
velvets are pretty tricky.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah, but she fires no fire.
I do.
That's
Yeah,
right.
it's they're very stable.
That's wonderful. It's a
And
nice
there's lots
job.
of issues taking that to content reduction.
Yeah. Not gonna do it. Mhm. Yeah, so
That's another one.
I do like to incorporate some Mishima in this, and then I also do, after it's been fired, I do underglaze pencil layering on top as well. And I try to do some solid shapes so that I can have a mixture of sgraffito and Mishima. So I'll carve into I'll do a drawing that overlaps both the solid shapes of color and the white space. And then I'll fill in the place where I carved with a color. And I use wax to make it really fine.
So how is this the Italian landscape?
I see trees,
You don't see it?
right?
Lake Como? Evergreens?
Yeah, so it starts there. But the town that I lived in was Cortona. UGA has a really incredible arts program there. And so it was a hilltop town. We lived at the very, very top of it. And so we would walk up this massive hill every night, and there was a lake. Cypress trees. There's cypress trees lining our walk all the way up. There's a tower that was at the very, very top. So Santa Margarita was we were just below it, or the old convent. And then this is the sun. It's not really the sun. I mean, it's abstract. Yeah.
I see it.
Bob, did that help?
I needed the help.
It's really interesting because sometimes like some of these do get really personal, and to me it's so obvious what they are, and so it's almost like very vulnerable having people look at them, because I'm like, how would they not know that this is like what it's, but
Well, there
I mean,
where I told you at dinner time is like, I really find now that I want to spend time with the person that did it, and then understand what was behind it, because then it makes a whole different coffee or tea time the next time I'm drinking from that mug.
truly. These are bicycle wheels. So this is actually a little bit wetter than I usually work on, so the underglaze isn't drying very quickly. Yeah, we'll do a little.
I don't work
Probably is.
with underglaze very
Okay.
much anymore, but I just kind of remember that sometimes it
I said there probably
would take more than one coat.
Oh,
You don't seem to need that.
So part of that, I think, is like my style of it. I don't mind if it's gonna have some translucency, like it's gonna be brushstrokey.
Okay.
But yeah, like this, you will see white behind. If I was trying to make like a really opaque, solid form, then I would go over it a couple times.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll just do I don't know if I'm actually gonna be able to do Mishima on that, so.
Can
Just go for
I inquire about your experiments with the color changing?
Oh my god.
Did
Yes,
those
you
not work
can.
out or?
So Sarah is asking about some color, thermochromatic pigment that I've been working with in resin. And it's, I put a black, I guess, reactor in it. And then whenever it reacts with heat, it becomes clear. So I have color matched my underglazes with resin dyes. And then I add the black thermochromatic powder into it. And then I've been trying to figure out how to epoxy them onto a finished cup. And I got it working, but it's not as sexy as I want it to be. It's just like, it's too clunky. Cause I've been using, honestly, it's very like, Ellsworth Kelly. Like I was using, cubes and then putting them on my pieces in like lines or squares, and it just ended up looking a lot like the chapel at the Blanton, but yeah, I keep going back to it because I am really interested.
I just thought it was really cool when you posted about that. I'm like, ooh, I want to see where this goes.
I want to see where it goes too.
It's
Yeah.
like those commercial mugs that'll have a building on it and then you
Yeah.
pour coffee in it and
Yes.
the windows light up or something.
Yes.
Okay.
But that I think you could get a decal. I think you can get decals for
Yeah.
that.
This lady does that thing and she's doing those black dots are gonna turn hot pink
Yes.
when it gets the hot water inside.
Okay, so that's exactly what I'm trying to do.
Okay, so I'll send you her the profile. She like over decorates them, but it's so much fun.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And
what
then
I'm
she
trying to
did
do.
one with the lights in the dark. So
And she's doing it with resin?
Yeah.
I haven't gotten the consistency of the resin right.
she's very nice. She will share the secret.
I don't know if she will. People are very protective of that.
Amanda's
Rightfully
awesome.
so.
Amanda's awesome. Oh, I can introduce you both.
You
Um,
know that, it's okay.
yeah, also part of me is just like, I want to figure this out.
Okay, then I won't do it. You tell me when you're ready to
And
talk to someone
Okay,
else.
perfect. Yeah.
It's like a mood ring. I love that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's very fun. I should have painted this before I came here.
You want us to sign a heat on?
Imagine that fan over there.
We used to have them handy.
I guess.
Tied it away.
We're cleaning after that salt.
What could go wrong with a bunch of college students and a heat gun?
Oh my gosh, what can go wrong with a bunch of adults and a heat gun? Every time I let my students use it, I'm like, okay, have you used a heat gun before? This thing
Very
gets so hot.
Yeah.
Do not lay it down
And then
on
if it
plastic.
touches
Do not lay
anything,
it
Yeah,
down
on
on
its
wood.
cord, on its own cord, and I clicked on it so many times.
Yeah.
You will hurt yourself.
Yeah. 'Cause you just like, I mean, I've done it. So I'm like, of course you're gonna
Yeah.
do it. Like
Yeah.
everyone does it. It's drying pretty quickly. We may just have to chat for a few minutes. So one of the things that I used to do a lot of, but then, and it's not a bad thing, but I'm not saying I started it because I certainly didn't, but contour faces, like blind contour faces. I used to do a lot of those on my pots. And I still love them. I really love drawing blind contour faces of people. So I'm gonna do that for you.
Yay.
I've never seen that done.
It's a great party trick.
You should teach classes of that at your school.
Yeah, it goes too quickly. Like it's done in a second.
That's so cool.
And yeah, it's very, very easy to do. Well, not easy to do, but it's, it's simple. And I did it with my my students, my elementary students all the time. Cause it just gets your, like, it removes blind continuous contour. You can't pick up your pencil, and you can't look at your paper. So it completely removes your ego from it, right? And it removes like what your expectation is gonna be. So it's a really refreshing drawing exercise. I love it. Do any of y'all do Sgraffito or Mishima in your work? I do a lot of Sgraffito. Yeah.
Yeah, Sgraffito. I was interested in the Mishima because I've never done that. And, you know, I've always seen it done with like a slab. You know, that's how those are the only videos I've seen. I haven't gone that deeply, you know, but I just saw Mishima. I was like, oh, I want to see that.
Yeah.
But
And if you're interested in Mishima, the artist Michelle Dross, if y'all, check her out. I know her from Athens, and she does the most beautiful, detailed illustrations with Mishima. And I'm just like, her line quality is out of this world. It's really something else. I think she might think I'm a little obsessed with her because I buy a pot like every time she has a sale, and I'm just hyping her up on Instagram all the time. She's like,
What's the name again?
Michelle Dross. Yeah.
DRASS.
DROSS. I'll let it dry. Ooh, I know we can do it.
okay. Peels the tape.
Yeah, it's not quite. We'll see what happens. You can always wash it off.
Oh, right. Gosh, there's one.
Michelle's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see.
What? Did you find it? I was gonna tell her you said hi.
She's like, is it
I'm
time for
hanging
a
out with
restraining
you.
order?
Okay, here is this one.
There's a big screen.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's easier to see. Michelle Dross. Look at that.
Ooh.
Look at that. Oh my gosh.
I like her logo.
Yeah.
It's cute, isn't it?
I wasn't as diligent as I usually am about getting my rib out and making sure these are totally sealed. Oh, well.
Would you like to smooth it down with the rib?
Oh yeah. Make sure it's all locked in.
So you get like maybe the color lines.
Looks sharp. I can always go in with a tiny paintbrush and clean it up. So you're at Austin Pottery?
Yes.
Okay. And have you noticed students doing a lot of grid work in your classes? Or is that just our students? Seems like everybody wants to do.
I think it
Everyone wants-
depends.
and the
on
checkers,
who they
everything, yeah.
start following.
Yeah,
And what
Oh my
ends up
gosh.
happening in community studios is that everybody starts following the same.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then just the crowd picks the favorite and everybody does the same thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I try to put 3 or 4 new Instagram accounts to follow, like every
Oh,
class.
that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
To try to Good. get people to look at different
Yes.
people,
Yeah.
because I feel like everybody gravitates towards the
one.
the guy
Yeah.
throwing without a shirt, you know, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Let's actually look at some people that are prevalent.
When I was teaching my neighbor, I was like.
Oh, I have to
"You
tell
take
my
you
students
out
about tortoise. I'm like,
To all the different,
And
Like,
see, it's
what
not
don't-
legal stuff, yeah.
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 We got to have them for a workshop and then the big scandal hit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was,
Yeah, that's how I found out about it, because guys had to cancel, and I was like, why did they, and I started Googling it, I'm like, oh,
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Whoop.
stop,
Sure.
unfollow.
Yeah, but he still has like 1 million followers. so.
Yeah.
Well, because people don't necessarily know.
I know. That's why I always say we don't follow tortoise in this house.
Can't wait to rebranding. And the same thing happens after the ceramic congress, whichever presentation took off, you start seeing.
A lot
Yeah.
of this.
Mhm.
Everyone wants to try it.
I don't feel that I'm not of the school that you have to go to school
Yeah.
to
Right.
be able to do it, but I do want people to know some of the more like
Yeah.
prevalent people who have followed the path
Mhm.
of like getting your MFA and teaching and all of that that might be
Mhm.
out there, but not necessarily Instagram heavy, but
But it is, but I think that's a great idea, adding the three accounts or three
Yeah.
web pages or.
and it's
Do you
usually
want us-
themed in some way to what we're doing in class or, you know, whatever.
That's a great idea.
It's a really good idea. I lost my Steam, so I'm having to create new ones.
But it's looking great.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
It's really
It's like
It's a little
it's
not as crisp as I would.
it's a lake. Like somebody in a boat.
I promise I'm not bullshitting about the landscape.
No, but with the grid, it looks like a little window.
Yeah, the thing is you're in a
Yeah.
tree, the
Right.
train's going really fast.
Yes. See, you guys get it.
It's a landscape. This one is not an Italian landscape. It's a Japanese landscape because you're going so fast.
Yeah.
It's full of trains.
Yeah.
I don't work in fire, so I wouldn't do it that way.
Very,
But
really
there's
effective.
certain stretch
Yeah.
goals
Thank you.
that actually make it through.
But I understand the grid thing, just because it's so, it's just, the tape is so tantalizing, you know, it's so
Yeah, I
easy to
like it quite a
use
lot.
and you can kind of make a clean line with it and
Yeah.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
To-
There's this lady, PD,
I
by Frederick Pula, oh, I forgot her last name. But she does a lot of the same geometric designs that I was showing you,
Oh.
but she does them with the tape
Oh,
and then
cool.
glaze every single thing. And she does it with glazes,
That's amazing.
and it's a lot, that tape thing.
So I'm gonna transition to the part Sgraffito, part Mishima. And I don't know if any of you guys use wax when you do Mishima, but I have found it's really, really helpful.
That's why I ended up getting the reeds ones,
Mm, right.
because it's more watery and it's more like whitish. So it's easy if you draw with pencil underneath, it's a lot easier to see.
Trying to see through, right.
Yeah, where the green one and the purple one covers it up.
Mhm.
That's food coloring in mine, so I could see it.
Oh, yeah.
I've done that.
That's
Smart.
Very smart.
And it tell yourself, yeah.
So once I do, this is a really basic, shapes, but I do tend to lean towards simple forms and lines. But I'm gonna just add the wax over the Sgraffito part, so I don't get any color.
Genius.
Oh, thank you.
I was wondering how you were gonna do that.
Mm-hmm. I don't need to cover the whole thing. Let that dry. And then I'm gonna. This blue is just too nice to not cut into. Mhm.
Do you always just use just a needle tool or do you have other
I
Like
just
carving
use a
tools?
needle tool, yeah. I'm pretty, like you said, I'm a pretty big fan of the basic toolkit.
Yep.
Keep it simple.
Doesn't stop me from buying new tools.
Oh, I
Yes,
know.
yeah,
You
I
have to
know. I have to
try.
stop.
Try it
Like
out.
I said, we really need to organize for
Yes.
December tool swap.
So swap, yeah.
Ooh, that's a great
And the,
idea.
and the condition.
I'm
is that-
missing somebody for July at this point, so if I can't find anybody, maybe we'll do it in July.
Okay, Christmas in July. Christmas in July.
Christmas in July,
Yeah.
pottery Christmas in July.
I actually have
Get up.
clay. I need to. I have like tin
But
clay that's
cheap
dried
or
up. that I
something.
never
Wow.
use.
Yeah, so we're, it is for those of us that collect tools,
Some-
and there may be something
You
that you
know,
already
I don't
tried
use-
and
But I
you didn't
have it
love
from
it.
the old, when I was at
And
Doherty,
somebody
I
else,
guess.
"Oh, I like
in
it."
Canton, you know. Sure, I can find someone.
Because last time we were talking
Free
about
clay.
also
Yeah, you probably
Someone-
can. I mean, it's
having something where it wasn't a
It's-
demo, but more
it
like
just depends. 'cause
sharing,
you have to reconstitute it and
right,
all
like
that.
selling techniques or
That's not hard.
platforms
Put
or
those together.
whatever.
Show and tell.
Yeah, kind of a different kind.
I'm gonna draw one of y'all.
Oh, no.
Time to draw.
Right,
huh?
yeah. I'll draw Sarah.
Oh, good.
You can look past me, you don't have to look at me. Okay. So I can't pick up this needle tool and I can't look at the mug, so. This is, I haven't done this in a while, okay. I do look to get my starting point. And I'm not trying to carve it super hard right now. I'll go back over it with a Can you see what I'm doing?
I'm watching it. Well, I can't see it. I can only see your tool moving.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah. very
So
nice.
it's like a really,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
it's like a really free line.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I need
Yeah.
to show Sarah for the video.
And then I kind of clean it up a little bit. And that actually went through nicely. I don't think I need to recarve any of it. But I just hate the little like tags that come off of it.
Won't they just burn off?
Oh, well, when I like when I come back over it with a sponge, I don't
Oh, I
want the,
They fill up the gap again.
yeah. But I do use an X-Acto knife for this typically.
Carol
I use it.
gave me the tip of, you put a needle, your sewing needle, and
Uh-huh.
a mechanical pencil.
Oh, I've seen her do that.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And that makes it very, because it's very fine and you can use anything that you normally use for your hands. Like a grip tool on the
Oh,
pencil.
yeah, that's a great idea.
Awesome.
And that led me to getting more tools.
Of course.
Yeah.
There's the glass cutters that people use for doing monoprinting, but on metal, etching the metal.
Oh,
It's tungsten, because the needle, the sewing needles, if you do a lot of line work, the clay,
Wears
it
it
starts
down.
wears it down, but the tungsten points don't, so. That's another.
I have one of those.
I'll bring them for the swap because I have like 3 and I don't need
Use more than one at a time, right?
So we'll go ahead. I'll do the blue for this one since it's nice and high contrast. So I'm just kind of forcing the pigment into the little lines that I've made with my needle tool.
Erin online says she has to leave in a minute, but thank you so much for zooming the meeting. It was great.
Aw. Hi, Erin.
Did you even see
We
my
had a
goodbye
Zoomer?
last time?
We do.
Probably didn't.
No, I think of one of once I saw
Who
the
else?
green
Yeah.
baggy lines, I thought, oh, that's me.
Just one.
I'm really glad that I didn't remember that
It's nice to meet you.
there are people online.
Susan used to go to this place.
As well. it's not
So-
watering down,
Yeah.
still there in the co-op space.
I would love to come down there sometimes. I meet such nice people from that community.
Yeah, it's a good community.
Take the wax.
But oh, you're at Austin Pottery.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're at Doherty
Bob's at Austin Pottery.
Pottery.
I'm rogue. You need to.
Where are y'all? Are you do you?
I have, we have our home studio.
We're
Oh,
rogue. Yeah,
okay.
we need more
But we
tables.
met at Austin Pottery when, Bill Van Gilder came to do his workshop.
Oh, okay.
It was so funny, because we just went for lunch and it's like, where do you live? Oh, 2 blocks away.
Oh, nice.
I went and saw him last week.
You live 2
Did you?
blocks
Yeah,
from
I
Austin
was
Pottery.
driving back from
2 blocks
Boston.
from Fabiola.
Oh,
Up in-
okay.
We're north of Boston.
You just dropped into the studio?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Uh,
wonderful.
So yeah, occasionally, what I used to do, and now that I'm doing it, I'm like, I really love doing this. But so I'll do like a layer of blue faces and like all around the cup, and then I'll wax over the blue faces, and then I'll layer another series of carvings over it, and then I'll make those pink faces, and then I'll layer over that, and then I'll carve through to make like, so it'll be like a bunch of layered faces, one on top of the other. So it ends up looking a lot just like abstract line work all over, but
Hmm.
But if you look
It's-
closely, you see
you
the
look
faces.
exactly.
Mhm.
Very cool faces.
Yeah.
That's
so
really
it's
cool.
And then we'll go back to this guy.
Been forced to do that in drawing classes before.
Yeah, I like really fell in love with it as a, like, any of my friends will tell you, oh yeah, like, don't hang out with Hallie, she's gonna make you do a blind contour drawing. Because I'll just have my sketchbook at a table and I'll just say, okay, everybody draw the person next to you. And so then we have like a little picture of the night, which I love and think is very sweet, but apparently some people aren't as into it.
I'm sure somebody has figured out how to do like exquisite corpse with
Mhm.
pots.
I've been trying to figure
Do
that
what?
out.
Do
Exquisite
what?
corpse.
Exquisite corpse with
It's
pots.
where, like, if you were doing a drawing, it's like you fold the paper into thirds and each person does a third, like and you make
Oh.
lines. And so it's like a head, torso, and feet
Right,
or
They
whatever.
have- There's an account.
Yeah, that would be fun.
There's an account on Instagram that what they do is you send 2 cups. And what they give you is the diameter of the connection, right? And you send the body and the head, and then the person swaps them.
Oh,
Huh.
And
wow.
those are fun. And it's kind of like an exquisite work. I've been trying to figure out how to do that on a challenge for the ceramics conference.
Mm.
I just, when I was in college, I made like a stacking jar and you could turn it like 3 different ways and it had 3 different drawings that like matched up. Never done it since, but
That's
like
really
just
fun.
thinking about like party trick game
Yeah.
type stuff,
Mhm.
like there's gotta be a way to do that on a pot.
Yeah.
So you just did different color, you did different colors.
Yeah,
I
so
see. Okay.
these lines will end up being the white of the clay body, and then
Oh,
these,
wow.
Mhm.
the
Oh.
extension of it will be the orange.
Oh, okay, because I
Oh,
thought
Carl
it
Block
looked like you did a different
does the-
color. in
Oh,
there.
oh, with
But
the-
you
Yeah.
did-
Yeah,
That's
that's
just,
the wax.
Oh.
Yeah.
wax,
He
yeah.
plays sawdust,
Oh,
but Carl Block plays the
But yeah,
sawdust.
you,
You
right?
I'm like, should I do more? I'll end up
Guitar,
adding
okay.
more to
Okay.
this with underglaze pencil, I think, because it's not quite where I want it to
so
be,
with
but
doing that, what would you do?
with underglaze pencil.
Yeah,
So I would bisque this.
yeah.
And then I right now I'm using just a regular Amico black underglaze pencil.
Okay.
But I have made my own, which is pretty fun. I've got a couple dark blue ones that I really like. But yeah, then I just kind of I'll like highlight certain areas. Like sometimes I draw circles around areas, or I continue, like instead of doing another carving, I'll continue the pattern, but with the underglaze pencil, or occasionally I do gold luster as well.
Mhm.
But yeah, I just kind of layer the shit out of all my all my work.
How do you make your own underglaze pencil?
Yeah, so you it's kind of like making colored clay, and then you roll it out into little coils and you bisque fire it to like a bit of a lower
Oh.
temperature.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I made pastels, which you don't bisque fire.
Okay.
Yeah,
What do? You just,
there's a
When it's like
I made
bone
them
dry,
so
I
long
guess.
ago.
yeah. So
It's bone
like
dry, but there's like a there's a binder in it that makes it so that
Oh.
it doesn't just fall apart on you.
If, I think
It's been so long.
Ceramics Daily had an article with
Oh, really?
recipes on how to do the underglaze pencils and the
Pastels.
pastels.
Okay.
Yeah,
Probably got my recipe. I've never done it, but I've got it.
Mhm.
Copy of the recipe.
yeah.
That's a good idea.
I need to try making it with these guys so that I have one of my own colors.
Mhm.
Anyway.
Thank you for being so
Yeah.
generous and sharing your.
Really?
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, of
really
course.
enjoyable.
Thank you for listening and giving me the time and space.
And now you have to figure out how to get that.
I know. It's like, it's back to the original thing that inspired me.
Yeah, that's great.
Just a mess on the table. Thank you.
Well, I guess if you wet a piece of paper and let it absorb it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe you could get it.
Mhm.
Because that has really nice veins to it.
And like, I wonder how many iterations you could get of something like that,
Reprints,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah, like,
Mhm.
because right now I'm looking at this and I'm like, that's really nice. Can I put that?
Well, that's how I used to do transfer prints was it would be dry and then you turn it over on the piece and spray the paper down.
Mhm.
after.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I mean, I
Oh,
didn't,
right.
it was usually like tissue paper or
Mhm.
thin newsprint. This probably won't let water go through it very well, but
Yeah.
Mhm.
So one thing which somebody told me soon was the difference between a spray bottle and a mister.
Mm.
Because I used spray bottles for 10 years before
Oh.
realizing.
Oh, no,
Oh.
you need a mister.
Did you get one of those ones that you spray and it just like
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
mister.
yes, yeah.
I like that.
Because
the
physics.
hairstylist ones?
Yeah.
that-
Yeah,
So where did you get your mister?
HEB. So they stopped selling them.
Oh.
So I wanted two. I wanted one for the studio, one for the Blake studio.
See, this is how you end up with two tools.
Right,
It's-
exactly.
Because I got the Home Depot sprayers,
Yeah.
but they're
Not quite the same.
Yeah, I get the
You
one.
can get them on Amazon.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sorry.
Sometimes you just gotta.
Sometimes you
I'm trying
just
to
gotta
find
make
the
you
Sometimes
avoid
you
it
do,
when
I
you
know,
can.
I know. Sometimes it's just.
It's gonna get stuck in space one of these times.
Yeah.
It'll all
Oh,
be
I love
better.
the spatial.
Me and Elon.
Oh, look at that. That looks like a short. No.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And with the reflection on the lake, there's your lake.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway, playful pots.
Yeah,
That's
it's
my
really
thing.
great.
Fun, really fun,
Thank you so much.
yeah.
Yes, thanks for sharing.
Of course. Thanks for the invite.
Thank you.
Yes.